Hello, and welcome. Isekai. I love Isekai for the exact same reason why dads watch the PGA Tour or middle-aged women read romance novels, since who doesn't enjoy easily accessible escapism fantasies? And unlike the last few times I've made videos like this, I don't think we really have a high-profile Isekai sequel airing right now. Unless, of course, you want me to make a video on Shield Hero Season 4. Please don't ask for that. So fortunately, that means that the other isekai this season are going to stand out a bit more than usual, which is why you should join me as I continue my journey to discover the perfect anime. Starting off with the big one. The big one. Uglymug Epicfighter. Our hero in this one was a successful salesman in his own time, with his only real flaw being cursed with a censored face.
I was one of the beautiful people. Now look at me. I'm almost as ugly as you.
He gets isekai'd, but unlike the last salaryman I covered who did so, he doesn't get kidnapped. You see, it's real simple, honestly. All you need to do is at 2 AM, face your computer magnetic north, open the window, raise your arms, open the door, get on the floor, and you too will become an isekai hero as you're given your character creation screen. Shigeru decides to unload all of the debuffs to lower his stats for the thrill of doing a challenge run. And hey, that makes sense to me. If I see a guy swinging an axe at me looking like he's the final boss, I'm going to assume he's a worthy opponent. But if a random crackhead with a knife comes raining at me, I'm turning into Usain Bolt. Before he can reallocate his stats after giving himself dysentery, he runs out of time and joins the other heroes that also got isekai'd.
16歳ということになっています。
私も16歳になっています。
俺も16歳です。
Yeah, I believe it. He kind of sucks right off the bat at just about everything, since he only powered down in character creation. After all, the debuffs he gave himself include taking substantial damage from touching women, becoming allergic to money, a cavernous void of charisma, an addiction to gacha gaming, a doctor's appointment for triple bypass surgery, increased dodge rate when encountering social interactions, a taste for freeform jazz. My man's built like a sea pig tumbling on the ocean floor. He looks like the barbarian I played in Baldur's Gate 3. He looks like a Discord mod had sex with a Reddit mod and that baby was raised on local Magic the Gathering tournaments. In other words, he just becomes one of us weebs. I'm so proud. But after leveling up once, he's suddenly given all of his stats back and becomes a fifth pillar of the cosmos, herald of the end plague, devourer of all creation, and can actually do some sick AoE. The debuffs intentionally made in character creation contributed to the obscene stat total. But what's more important in this world is the special notes. Remember kids, any character created is inferior to the special notes. Anytime your DM tries to rule lawyer you, just whip out that thick, girthy, pulsing special notes and bring him back down to earth. One of his party members wants to be a hero as written in his own special notes. And while Chester A. Arthur could just solve the problems and be the ray of light Madonna was singing about in the 90s, he instead lets the rest of the party get development, which is important because the reason he willingly got isekai in the first place was because he had been outcast by society and became a shut-in. He may be socially awkward, but he comes to value his friends. And believe it or not, I'm actually going to call this a pretty good anime. It's a ridiculous one to watch, but the special notes end up being a double-edged sword, as many other people got isekai too, but are unable to break away from the frustrations that cause them to want to flee the real world in the first place. The most important special notes were the friends we made along the way, as the power of friendship can do anything, like conquer rival nations. Apocalypse Bringer Mynoghra is the next isekai I'm gonna tell you about because making these videos is fun. It's about a guy who's about to die because he went camping in California, so he does a logical thing and decides it's a perfect chance to boot up his laptop and play his favorite computer game. You know what? I totally understand actually. If it was me on my deathbed, for sure I'm turning on that Heroes 3. As he dies, he gets isekai'd into the game he was playing, Eternal Nations, as the king of Mynoghra, a nation which is evil. And he's quickly joined by Otto. Otto, his counselor, political advisor, and more importantly, professional Silly Billy. They're both such Silly Billies, aren't they? They hit it off as comrades because being part of the evil alignment means that everyone else is gonna want you dead. Fortunately for them, a wandering band of outcast Dark Elves need shelter and sanctuary from the brutal world that has cast them aside, and the two gladly welcome all of these elves as citizens of their new civilization because they're both huge fans of action first. Here's where the anime actually becomes pretty unique. As to anyone native to this world, Takuto, that's this guy by the way, appears as an ominous empty void of madness, where mere eyes cannot comprehend the eldritch power that lies within him. When presented with such power, mankind is faced with a path. Either you can abuse this and strike fear in all who lay before you, subjugate nations with powers beyond their imagination, and reign in an era of order at all costs. Or you can become a Silly Billy! Given how he normally appears like a fighting game character you haven't unlocked yet, I think what actually caused his death was stage 7, aura farming. Doctors say it's terminal. His experience playing Eternal Nations comes in handy given how he actually does a great job nation building. Unlike some people, all of the people who join Mynoghra do have to change their alignments to evil since the kingdom has the horrors of affordable housing, boundless nutritious food, free healthcare, a stable economy, a government who gives a shit. Things you'd only see in a dystopian horror setting. But in reality, what being evil in this world means is just dyeing your hair, shopping at Hot Topic, listening to My Chemical Romance, nothing major. Take it from Otto, she's pretty chill.
あなたは死にます。そしてあなたの家族も死にます。私が探し出して殺します。
Okay, maybe not.
彼らがなぜと問えば、あなたの愚かな行いのせいだと教えてから殺します。
Okay, maybe she's evil, but she's a Silly Billy! Since this is a civilization building isekai, it has a lot of world building in the literal sense, which leads us to being an isekai with a lot of meanings. Hey, wait a minute, those two isekai not involving enough brain power for you? How about Lord of Mysteries? And to be completely honest, I wasn't too sure about checking this one out, because I kept seeing so much discourse about how complex the story was here, partly due to the speed of the subtitles. So I decided to wait for the English dub to give it a good shot. And if I had to summarize the story, I'd say it goes like this.
Completing this evolution is an exceptional feat.
He claimed to have acquired an ancient notebook. The potions endow supernatural powers. The sequence must have levels.
13 drops of liquid night.
If the hope is to harness its power to return to Earth,
The tarot is a mystic
two ways to achieve this.
You are the lady.
Basically, this guy suddenly gets isekai'd into the body of Klein Moretti, a researcher who had just died before from a mysterious ritual. So the new Klein decides to write down everything he knows in his special notes. We don't see too many isekai where the MC becomes someone who already existed in the world they go to, and he comes to this world with a general knowledge of who Klein is and what he was trying to accomplish. But the name of the show is Lord of Mysteries. Klein doesn't know everything. The plot revolves around him trying to learn more about this world, and all the many nasty things that want him dead. And look, I don't blame you or anyone if you need to look a few things up and perhaps follow a guide. Watching this anime is like joining your friend's awesome and well thought out D&D campaign after it's been ongoing for 12 years already. It feels like everything has been planned out to the finest of details, but info dumping that all in you right at the beginning would just be another TED Talk. So what I recommend when it comes to mystery shows is put yourself in the protagonist's shoes, learn about the world as they do, and ask questions that they might have. Do so and you'll be a real hit at your local bingo nights. But the most basic of info is that the new Klein wants to return back home to his previous body, and in order to do so, he needs to become a powerful Beyonder, someone who undertakes one of the 22 paths by drinking potions that allow you to traverse said paths, and at the end of it, become as strong as a god. My traveler's too powerful for you. Potions. While the story could be a barrier to entry, there's so much to like here. For one, it's visually incredible. You can tell so much effort went into this with the locations, animation, and action. The abilities used are pretty unique too. For instance, we have some characters who fight by reciting poems, and Klein ends up accidentally forming his own organization, which he didn't realize what it was at first, but took the occasion to quickly become its leader. You know, it's a good thing he went with the name Fool, because any other name would have been a bit too goofy.
If you wish to address me, call me
Harry Cox.
Maybe that one was a bit too unique. How about we go back to the basics with the Water Magician, which has one of my favorite first episodes of the year. It doesn't try to do anything too fancy, it's just Ryo getting isekai'd into this world and learning to make the most of his new life. He's able to use magic, but his talent is raw and untrained at the beginning.
With one of my water balls.
Okay, no more SpongeBob references this video. Something I've noticed is that when you look at some of the best isekai out there, many just take the isekai format and use it to the greatest limit without doing anything to really stand out. The isekai genre is common, but so many are like, what if the protagonist had a smartphone? What if he's a demon lord? What if he's a vending machine? And then there are isekai which don't try to reinvent the wheel, they just want the world itself to breathe and the characters to learn to love it. Which is great and all, but what makes this anime actually an isekai is... Welcome back to Anime Feud! I'm your host, Steve Senpai. Okay, we asked 100 weebs, what's the first thing you look forward to in any isekai? CGI dragon, Steve. An elf harem! How about good writing? The boar fight! Come the end of the first episode, Ryo's actually gotten to be quite powerful since he doesn't really have an isekai cheat skill like most others do, but rather was surprisingly given eternal youth, so he spent the past, 900 years farming, watering, learning he shouldn't talk to dragons, talking to dragons anyway, until he realizes he could use the help of an able-bodied adventurer.
Hi, my name's Abel.
Oh hey, Ryo is not just a great water magician, he's the moistest of them all. He's spent so long training and just living on his own to where he's lived perhaps lifetimes of gaining experience, which ends up coming in handy as he's able to take on challenges that would be too dangerous for most adventurers, thereby leading to his walking legend status, only gaining more ground as he travels and continues carving his name out in history. I'm really enjoying this anime, and sure, some may call this free-run light, especially given the incredible opening, which definitely feels like a teaser for the next season of free-run, but I still think this is absolutely worth watching on its own. I do have one issue, and that is the anime is beautiful and knows how to lock in when needed at times. It is rather inconsistent. Alright, unlike my previous isekai videos, I've got one more to cover, which is Turkey, Time to Strike. And hold up, this isn't an isekai. Yeah, full disclosure, one of my favorite videos I made last year was my Magical Girl one, which was also one of my lowest viewed. So I made this whole isekai video just to lead into talking about this one because I think a group of girls playing one specific sport and learning about the values of teamwork and friendship leads to pretty great anime. I watched How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift on a complete whim a few years back and I had a total blast with it. So I've already given you 4 isekai to have fun with. Let's take a look at what lies with Turkey, Time. Huh? Okay, Turkey, Time to Strike was an isekai the whole time. And really, I just have to commend the marketing of the series big time. I watched the trailer and nothing about it gave away the direction. I love false advertising. However, there may be some of you saying to yourselves right now, yes, I totally saw this coming from the very beginning. The twist was too obvious. And if this is you, then I would just like to say thank you for taking a break from all the copious amounts of sex you're having right now to watch this video. And believe it or not, many of the tropes you'd expect from typical cute girls doing sports things anime are still here. Like, there's a clear schism in the group. They've got their own personal issues, and some of them question their commitment to the sport they love. But at the same time, they're in feudal Japan, and the solution to many of their problems is bowling. Imagine you're a trained, seasoned Japanese soldier, ready to give it all in the battlefield, and then some random teenage girl kills you and your buddy with a bowling ball. These girls also have a hard time learning that Japan hundreds of years ago is quite different from the current one. They need to adapt and learn how life was like back then. For instance, the value of community, the political maneuvering of arranged marriages, and when it's necessary to take another person's life.
I need to kill! I need to kill!
Turkey, or I guess it's Turkey now, is a weird show, but I do appreciate how the girls actually try to recreate the setup that got them isekai in the first place. The only other anime in this video that did so was Lord of Mysteries, and Klein ended up becoming a leader of his own organization by doing so. Here though, they're just a bunch of silly billies! This is a weird anime, and I think it might be more overdramatic than it probably should be, but man, I love anime originals. I have no idea where this is going to go, but I do know that it's bringing us one strike closer to bowling, the perfect game. Hey, thanks for watching. Sorry I haven't been making too many videos lately, as it turns out this is a really stacked season. Might be the best season of anime ever. Not even exaggerating, and I've just had a real busy summer, so I wanted to make sure I could still make one of these videos, since at this point it's basically a coin flip if I'll make an isekai or elf video each season. But I do think that all 5 of these isekai are definitely worth checking out for their own reasons. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to special notes for more silly billies. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one, and don't forget, there's always a second throw.